Nobody knows why. This bird is very enigmatic. Uh, and especially because it is so solo and where it's found, it's not the easiest bird in the world to actually study. So we know actually very little about it, very little about what it does on migration. One of the things that I read talked about it being something called a leapfrog pattern in evolutionary biology, which is that things in the north are found um, in the farthest south. So the northern ones the northern ones on the breeding grounds have the southernmost distribution on their wintering grounds. So it's leapfrogging over all of the intermediate populations and going further south, which, I mean, who knows why? I don't know why. Why would it do that, John?
Because of competition with the ones in between.
Yeah, they're
In
kind
other
of
words,
ferociously territorial on the wintering grounds, but um, yeah, they're known for being really confrontational on the wintering grounds.
Yeah,
Of course,
I
that's not
was
my
reading that they
experience
would
with
like
them.
that they'll chase away other birds at feeders, and like it said they'll even dominate like sparrows and blackbirds and cowbirds and towhees. And I don't
Wow.
think of a lot of things as dominating sparrows. They kind of
Yeah.
hold their ground.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be willing to have my feeder be dominated by a varied thrush.
Yes. I couldn't believe just how pretty they were when
Yes.
I wasn't familiar with them until Shannon, you kind of sent us that article about the vagrant. And, thrushes are hard for Amanda and I to, it's like,
Yes.
we've taken a year to figure out a lot of our warblers, and, sparrows we're learning, and those are hard. And then this past year we've been learning thrushes, and we're like, how do
Yeah.
people tell these things apart? And then when you said the varied thrush, I thought it was just going to be some like look like all the other thrushes, and I was
Brown
like,
and
why?
white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is a gorgeous bird, and
It,
why can't all thrushes be this easy to identify?
Exactly.
you know,
Well,
Exactly.
they'd all
so
be in
there is a
monotypic genera if that were the case.
well, as Shannon's saying, it's definitely different enough that they put it in its own genus, but the things that it's next to in the linear classifications and things like birds of the world are some really bizarre thrushes that include some really colorful things called cochoas from Southeast Asia. And so
Uh,
it's it's interesting. And at the same time, I mean, a lot of times when it shows up someplace in the eastern US, it's with robins. And
okay.
so when you get a group of 50 robins and there's one varied thrush in the middle somewhere, they can be kind of hard to pick out.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
Yeah.
John,
okay.
they
Just,
they
with
historically were classified in Zoothera, but they're not with those things phylogenetically. They're at the base. They're at the
right. No, exactly.
base,
So,
the base of
right.
the American part of um the tree of life. So, uh,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
it really
But they're way at the base. And then biogeographically, they're, by putting them there, it seems to me they could be in this category with things like, wren tit, verdin. We're doing this class for the graduate students right now called, which we call Birds of the World, where basically they go through the collection and try to learn all the current taxonomy from orders and families. And so, yeah, it's interesting to think about how closely related varied thrush is to everything else in North America. And what you're saying is it's part of the same clade, right, Janet?
yeah, it's at the
The same
base of
grouping
that group. So its scientific
of all
name is
of all.
Ixorius, uh, and the species name is Navius, and it has a bit of a convoluted taxonomic history too, because it doesn't look like anything. People didn't know how to put it, but it turns out when you actually get the tree right,